Welcome to this presentation of the 8 Habits of Highly Effective Cost Management. This is Brian Shannon, and I'm the founder of Shannon & Associates, an independent consulting firm that partners with leadership teams and healthcare organizations to produce cost savings that range from $5 to $100 million. The key to our success? We hardwire the 8 Habits of Highly Effective Cost Management into your organization's DNA to strengthen execution capacity and lower cost. By leveraging the hidden reserve of in-house experts, your organization no longer needs to rely on outside firms year after year. This is an introduction to our 8 Habits of Highly Effective Cost Management. Oftentimes, we'll use language and don't pay close attention to the attitudes and biases that our language conveys. So let's take a quick look at some common attitudes that together can form root cause barriers to your organization's cost reduction effort. As one client put it, "We've already picked the low-hanging fruit. Therefore, if you think we have FTEs just laying around here, you're sadly mistaken." So this seems like an innocent enough comment until we understand what this attitude leads to. Since we've picked the low-hanging fruit, we must climb the ladder to go after the high-hanging fruit. Think of this as big, bold ideas, as they represent the only way to reduce costs further in these organizations. So what's the problem with that? The problem is that the batting average of successful execution of big, bold ideas is very, very low. Quite often, no results are found. The failure to reduce cost and produce results then leads to an endless loop in which bigger and bolder ideas are oftentimes pursued, usually with no results in sight. In the best-selling book, The Power of Habit, Charles Duhigg talks about how changing personal habits can actually change brain chemistry. He talks about keystone habits that can create a chain reaction to influence other good habits. During the remainder of this talk, I will introduce our 8 habits of highly effective cost management. Not only will these habits help your organization to reduce cost, they will strengthen the capacity to sustain results and improve organizational performance in many other ways as well. There's a common misconception that an in-depth cost assessment must be completed before a cost reduction goal is set. Our view is that the cost reduction goal must stand alone and be based solely on the strategic and financial aims of the organization and should not rely on a cost assessment. Establishing a cost reduction goal based on your strategic needs will help your organization and its leadership team to develop and communicate a compelling case for change and provide the burning platform for real cost reduction and efficiency improvement. A compelling case for change will mitigate the inevitable pushback received when targets are eventually assigned to department heads and executives. Setting expectations that elicit superior performance is quite a challenge in many healthcare organizations. In fact, over a third of executives we've surveyed identify target setting as their weakest link. Once you have clearly established your cost reduction goal, based on strategic and financial requirements, it is essential to quickly set targets before you do anything else. For many organizations, this notion that targets get set quickly and are communicated top-down is quite a departure from their baseline experience. This may seem counterintuitive. How can we set targets before we have plans in place? One of the challenges is to get the leadership team on board with this idea. Yet the longer you take to set targets, the more formidable your first-year cost reduction goal becomes. Our point of view is that setting targets quickly is a critical path of a successful cost reduction effort. It signals to the organization that leadership engagement and alignment of the cost reduction goal with individual accountability are keys to success that will accelerate timing of results. Albert Einstein was quoted as saying that not everything that counts can be counted, and not everything that can be counted counts. So habit number 3 is to count the right things. If many of your departments are running at or above 100% productivity, for example, but your organization still has the need to lower cost, in all likelihood you may be counting the wrong things. You may find that the benchmarks in which some targets are set may have been cherry-picked, or your folks may have too much discretion for loosening targets. Lastly, if your organization is focused on conventional measures of unit cost related to such departmental activities and volume measures as square feet, registrations, charts completed, inpatient procedures, and the like, there's a strong likelihood that you are making suboptimal resource allocation decisions. Not only will you not reduce departmental costs, you may actually increase hospital cost. Counting the right things is absolutely essential as a critical path, and counting the wrong things can inflate your cost structure by as much as 5 to 10%. Peter Drucker was quoted as saying that productivity is doing the right things and doing things right. And in Stephen Covey's book, First Things First, he describes a framework for prioritizing work that is aimed at long-term goals at the expense of tasks that appear to be urgent but are in fact less important. A cost reduction effort is a great time to introduce or strengthen this value improvement framework to streamline areas of overinvestment in your organization. We have many tools and resources that can help your organization to streamline its investments in non-core programs, assets, functions, locations, positions, projects, and initiatives. When Michael Lewis's best-selling book Moneyball about the Oakland Athletics came out, the world found out about Billy Beane's secret: get guys on base and reduce outs. That's how you score runs and win games. Put in statistical terms, small changes in on-base percentage are worth twice as much as small changes in slugging percentage. So habit number 5, choke up the bat and get on base. And if you don't believe Billy Beane, perhaps you will believe Warren Buffett. Keep things simple and don't swing for the fences. When promised quick profits, respond with a quick no. So what does this mean to your organization? When defining the scope of your cost journey, it is important to examine your leadership's ability to make tough political decisions and plan accordingly. Choking up on the bat will help your organization to implement what works, will help your organization to achieve quick wins and grow organizational capacity to produce lasting results. Quite often we'll hear about managers, how weak they are. They've worked in the organization for so many years that they don't know what they're doing. They can't understand payroll, budget, productivity reports. They need a lot of hand-holding. Their plates are full. They're so overwhelmed, so how can I ask more of them? Given their workloads and limitations, how can we set cost reduction targets without somehow asking for permission? But in the Harvard Business Review article, the author identifies the critical determinant of a performance improvement effort. And it's not bolder ideas or greater use of technology or additional management training. It is when management becomes committed to demanding higher levels of performance, what the author views as the most universally underdeveloped management skill. This experience is completely consistent with ours. While managers may vary in their capabilities throughout your organization and from one organization to the next, they are your experts. They will develop and implement plans that work, and they do have the capacity to step up and produce the needed results. One of the ways of aligning improvement initiatives with results is to make them budgetable. A full 25% of executives that we've surveyed have identified this as their weakest link. Improvement initiatives that are not linked to the budget are likely unsustainable and will produce unsatisfactory cost savings. Conversely, by baking plans into the budget, you will align performance improvement initiatives and results, and this then becomes the basis for tracking results. There will always be distractions, execution barriers, and other priorities, as well as general noise in the organization, and that is why it is so important to stay the course. Stick-to-itiveness is needed to hardwire the habits that we've reviewed thus far into your organizational DNA for sustainability. This may take the form of outstanding project management discipline, steering committee functioning, and results tracking tools. Let's quickly review the 8 habits of highly effective cost management. First, set a goal to provide strategic context and burning platform. Second, quickly set targets and plans to align the goal and engage your management team. Third, count the right things. Fourth, do the right things to add value. Fifth, choke up the bat for quick wins and to grow execution capacity. Sixth, demand better results. Seventh, make sure to bake plans into your budgetary process and tracking tools. And eighth, stay the course. Then ask yourself the following question. What is our organization's best path to sustainable cost reduction? Is it bigger and bolder ideas, or is it hardwiring good habits into your organization's DNA to provide an endless loop of results? If you like the ideas presented here, I encourage you to call us or visit our shannonconsulting.com website. Thanks for taking the time to watch this presentation of the 8 Habits of Highly Effective Cost Management.